is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Donna Fries. She has an amazing journey from some pretty traumatic beginnings to becoming a hugely successful writer, professor, and grief counselor. Donna, thank you so much for being with us today, and I'm really anxious to hear your story and everything that we can learn from you in your life.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. You left off a big piece of it. I have 11 grandchildren.
Oh my God. Thank you. Just let me redo this. 11 grandchildren. No, that exactly. Is wonderful. Congratulations. Yeah, really and how many children?
3 adult children. And well, my boy, they were not trying for a boy, but he has 5 girls, and my next boy has 3 girls. My daughter has boy, girl, boy. So aren't I lucky? Aren't you?
That's
a perfect mix.
Yeah, what a beautiful family. Yeah, congratulations. That's wonderful. And you've mentioned that your husband is your soulmate as well. So congratulations on finding
When
that.
I met him, he was trying to seem older and more sophisticated, and he confessed to me that he was 15.
Oh.
Well, it turns out he hadn't turned 15 yet. I have had just the most marvelous time teasing him about that all these years. And he picked me up. I was a beach kid. I was raised on the beach in Venice. And so when I first met him, he came with a friend on the horse. The horse to take me and my girlfriend out.
Oh my gosh, your knight in shining armor.
Well, and I was too afraid, this boy, to put my arms around him. I mean, I'm 14, right? And so my friend remembered that as the horse started up the hill, I just slid right off the back of the horse. So then we walked up there. I wasn't putting my arms around this boy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that is too cute.
I know. It's
so you met your soulmate when you were 14 years old?
Well, I didn't know he was my soulmate, but it's been wonderful.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We got married after college and moved to San Juan Capistrano.
So you made yourselves respectable.
We did. We were very respectful given my childhood. I wasn't going anywhere near anything but respect.
Well, tell me a little bit about your childhood, because this is part of the journey. We don't need to focus too much on it, but let's just touch on it, because this is kind of how you started your growth path. Right?
Well, and it's what people are so interested in. When I'm out on the speaking trail, mostly what people want to know is, Donna, given the insidious, traumatic childhood that you experienced, how could you possibly evolve into this happy person? And I am a happy person. This isn't just a mask I put on. Oh, I'm going to be on Channel 6. I have to put. No, I'm deeply, deeply contented with my life. My childhood abuse, and so I just did the best I could to get through school and get my A's, and I had a getaway plan. When I got away to the university, to the sorority, that was kind of born free with that. And we moved far away from the problem in Los Angeles, and I did my best. I buried myself in my schoolwork and my children, but then I had a sister come to me, and my father was molesting her little girl. And as
it was his granddaughter.
Yeah, as the oldest sister of the family, they looked to me, and so we had a 15-month-long trial and a guilty verdict. Did 3 significant changes in California law. So it was the hardest thing I ever did.
That would have had to have been absolutely horrific.
But we all got therapy, and we're all just grateful. Really, I mean, we are kind of the result of what the past. It made me so grateful for the beautiful life I have today, and determined to stay in this place of productivity and love and gratitude
and spend your time, as I see it, helping others in whatever way you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Yes, I've been doing the grief counseling. It was tremendously rewarding, but now I've shifted. I noticed early this summer that there were 7 or 8 women, not just young women, asking me for guidance with their writing. And I was kicking that around with my oldest son, and he said, Mom, make a real writers group. So my granddaughter, who's starting her master's in creative writing at Chapman today, made us a website, and they're signing their ethics, because I don't want them to share with each other's intellectual property without the ethics of protecting their privacy. So
you're official.
We're official.
Congratulations.
Well, that's wonderful. So just to kind of go back, so you got married after college,
We did.
and then you became a professor of psychology for 45 years.
Actually, speaking of communication.
Of communication, okay.
Yes, yeah, I didn't get my doctoral degree until I turned 50.
Oh,
and then I
wow.
stuck with the psychology of relationships and language
I
arts
see.
department.
So you worked at Chapman for 45.
Cypress College.
Cypress College for 45 years, and in communication. And then you, after you retired, then you did grief counseling for 8 years.
I did, because I was certain that there was no life better than teaching my students in Humanities 102. And I'd say that to my colleagues, and they laughed. They thought I was making a joke. I wasn't making a joke. What could be more fun than teaching college students? Nothing. But this last week, I did confess to my husband, I think my new life is as satisfying and beautiful as my old life.
That's
That's
wonderful to
fabulous.
hear.
I didn't think I would ever say that.
What's wonderful to
They
hear.
were all just laughing at
So
me.
when did the books come in? When did you start writing?
Well, on the way to the prosecutor for the trial, he and the detective said, "We've never heard a story like this ever after 20 years of working in sex crimes. You have to write it." Write it, not me. And all the way home from Santa Monica to San Juan Capistrano, my husband said, "Yeah, you need to write it." And this was 1990. We had a computer, but I'd never tried to turn it on. It was something my husband's secretary did. Anyway, he went off to move our son into law school, and I was home alone for a long weekend with a computer, and I figured it out, and I started writing, and by the end I had 600 pages by the end of a year, and it was not difficult to find a publisher. Health Communications published it, and then it was in 7 languages. That started it. So, and what I learned along the way, my story is not an unusual story, it's only an unusual story if you don't know the psychology of child abusers.
Right.
So that started it, and then I took what I'd been learning from my doctoral work, and I started applying to my psychology of communication students. So then I wrote a book for my students, and then I wrote a history book, and I don't know, I've written 8 books. I'm wearing a lot of different hats.
Yes, you are. You are amazing. Well, with all of these experiences, you've come across, like whether you're pulling stories out of your humanities students, or whether you're grief counseling, or whether you're doing your writers groups, you're coming across some really amazing moments of vulnerability. And when you have that opportunity to help people go into that next stage where they can find that hope and happiness that you have found. So for all of our viewers here, what are maybe 1 or 2 things that you would suggest to somebody who's ready to open up about their story?
A lot of people who come to me have a child or a sister or a neighbor child who has suffered trauma, and they want action. They want action right this minute. They learned this and they want action. A person is not ready to divulge their story until they're ready, and they should not be forced. I'm on a United States Justice Department consortium as a consultant, and that's the first thing we say: do not force someone. It's traumatic to have lived with this, and then to have to reveal it and live it over again. That's traumatic. People need to share when they're ready to share, and it needs to be private, and it needs to be safe, and really with a therapist is such a wonderful safe place. We can get better. We probably can't get better until we deal with whatever the trauma was.
So the first thing is, don't force something.
Don't force it, no.
Okay. What's another suggestion that you would have?
With a vulnerable person, to listen empathetically. I'm an empath, so it's natural for me to listen and to feel, and allow them to get it out at the pace that they want to reveal. And even doing the interviews for my Capistrano Trails book, people opened up a lot, because a lot of times they were telling a traumatic moment, not a psychological moment about abuse, but when you're trapped in the sand and your horse and there's no one to come to your aid. I mean, you've got to be pretty quick-witted.
That's a traumatic moment.
Yeah, pretty traumatic moment. So people talk to me, and I'm respectful of it.
Absolutely. So don't force it. Encourage the things to come out when they want. Be very respectful. Be empathetic.
And hopeful. The idea that we will get better, especially with the grief counseling. When people have lost their significant other, a lot of them were surprised they were still alive themselves, and to offer that it will get better, it will get better in time, but this is a really hard thing that's happened, and there are some things that you can do. For example, when the pain, if you've ever been in grief, the pain is real, like real pain. Get up, move around, and engage a different part of your brain so that the pain dissipates a little bit because another part is engaged. There's some things we can actually do. We can take note mindfully of something good that happened this day. Maybe even a little paper by the bed of, well, this was my victory today. And to notice precious moments. I love this book, something about daylight, searching for daylight at the end. I found it accidentally. This high roller man had 6 weeks to live, and he took meetings with like Rupert Murdoch, a high roller guy, and chasing daylight, and Kelly. And he discovered that the best moments of his life were these last moments of 6 weeks, because he was stopping and acknowledging precious moments. Wow. And I think that that's really important. Even I was on the horse on Tuesday, and a blue heron flew out of the bush. And oh my gosh, a blue heron. And then there were 2 egrets down there, and then there were 4 ducks. And I mean, precious moments, they might look like little things. Another precious moment, I entertained my dog, my golden retriever's brothers and mother in the pool, and some sisters. I had 10 golden retrievers in the pool on Tuesday. And my granddaughter, who's turning 10 tomorrow, came up. I was ready to lay the food out after we'd been in the pool. And they call me Mimi. Mimi. She's looking at my cheese and meat platter. Mimi, did you make this platter up yourself? And I said, I did. It's so professional looking. How precious is that? I mean, that turning 10 can tell about a meat platter. I mean,
and compliment you on your professional presentation.
Exactly.
Was the platter for the dogs?
The platter was for the 12
the parents. Okay.
No, the dogs were too busy chasing them.
Well, it is so clear from just talking with you that you have really overcome so much, and not just you didn't just live, you really overcame, and you're
I'm really living. If you'd seen all those dogs with me in the pool,
that's called really living.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for being an amazing example to all of us, and for sharing your story.
Thank you.
So if we want to join your writing group, or if we want to find out more about what you're writing, how can we get a hold of you?
drdonnafries.com.
Okay. Wonderful. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. We'll be right back.